Hey gang, just a quick intro. I wasn't sure I was going to upload this. I just kind of came across it recently, and I didn't want to fully get rid of it, and I don't know. But basically, it's May now, almost June. Many months have passed. This was recorded in like January. And I just wanted to talk about my 2024 in movies and TV. And this is just a whole lot of yappage, my thoughts, and it's whatever. I think I have a good point or two sprinkled in there. A lot of it is just this movie was good, this movie was good, this movie was not good. But I think it's fine. It's whatever. And I finished editing it because I felt like it. I need to scratch the editing itch. I have not done enough podcasting these last few months. Now that school's over, thank you God, I'm going to start again, hopefully. And see what happens. Please enjoy or don't. Welcome to Pulp Diction, the podcast where I talk about movies with my friends for an academic obligation. What's up, everybody? It's your boy. No, I'm not going to start over. It's welcome to Pulp Diction. I'm your host, Dylan Gibson. For the first episode of 2025, Happy New Year. Welcome to 2025. I'm graduating this year. That's pretty freaking sweet. And, yeah, we're in the new year. 2024 is over. It's dead and gone. And, I just wanted to do a little something for this episode. I would have had someone on, but I've done something similar with Emma Joe already. And let's just see if I can yap this long. I've done some solos in my time. It'll be fine. It's fine. I just want to go over, just recap 2024. I'll look through my Letterboxd diary, just point out whatever I think looks neat or whatever I want to talk about that I never really talked about on the podcast this year. Which, first year of Pulp Diction, it hasn't been a year since I started the pod, but it's, first year of Pulp Diction is over, and it's pretty great. I've enjoyed this little project. I've said this before, but I could have stopped long ago, but I didn't, because I have a lot of fun with this. And, thank you to everybody who does listen to this. You know who you are. And, before I get into the movies, I wanted to point out that I watched a pretty absurd amount of TV this past year. Definitely an unhealthy amount. I listed all the shows I watched. The Sopranos and Game of Thrones were the big two, both HBO. I have solo episodes on both of those, but they were both amazing. I mean, I was just thinking about Game of Thrones the other day. I'll get to that later. I mean, I saw a TikTok edit of Tyrion like calling everyone out on at the trial, right? And it's still one of my favorite moments from the whole show. Oh my gosh, just nothing else is quite like it, and I kind of miss that show. I gotta watch House of the Dragon. That's what I gotta do. But I watched The Sopranos. I watched Game of Thrones. I watched the Ted show. That was amazing. Oh my gosh, the thing about these Seth MacFarlane shows, right? It's like, Seth MacFarlane humor, it's obviously not for everybody. It's very crass. It's very juvenile. A lot of like pop culture references. But those three things are like me. I am the exact target audience for that. So it works for me. I loved the Ted show. I thought it was, I haven't seen the second movie. I've seen the first one. I thought it was better than that. It's like, at least the quality of Family Guy at its peak, right? It was so consistently funny and just, I don't know, it got a lot of consistent laughs out of me, and I cannot wait for season 2. I loved the Ted show. I finished the Justice League animated series, not Justice League Unlimited. I haven't started that yet. I want to finish Superman the animated series, and then I'll get to that. which I've kind of been watching on and off for a little while. But that was insanely good. I mean, the voice cast, Kevin Conroy, rest his heart, soul, and just everybody, just the way these characters interacted and the stories. Oh my gosh, I love a good superhero show. And another superhero show I watched, probably my favorite superhero show of 2024, was X-Men 97. Oh my gosh. That show was absurdly good. I mean, just the political commentary, the fights, the villains, the animation, the characters, the voices. I didn't grow up with the 90s series, or the original one, but I could tell there was a lot of love for it in there. I watched the Disney Plus documentary about the making of it, which was okay. I wish they'd gotten into the more risky topics of the show, like they cast a non-binary person as Morph and kind of characterized them as that throughout the show. And again with Morph, like the whole romance thing implied with Wolverine, unrequited love, I guess. They didn't really touch on that at all, but it would have been really interesting because X-Men's never been safe, but that documentary was very safe. But it was such a good show. Episode 5, I think it was, on Krakoa. No, not Krakoa. Whatever the island was. Oh, Genosha. When the thing that happened, it was like, there have been very few moments, TV or film, that have ever made me feel that way. Like, it was Red Wedding level insanity. And I'm just sitting there after school, mouth literally dropped open. My parents are like, okay, we're gonna go to the store, get, I'm like, while watching this unfold. It was Red Wedding quality. I'm telling you, if you haven't seen it, see it. It was insane. And then after that, it was so good, I had to watch the original show. I thought season 1 was the best one of that. It had like a very focused, like, beginning to end. They had the political commentary going on. I loved how Senator Kelly, I think, he's like this big anti-mutant activist, and they save him at the end of the season, and he's like an ally, even through X-Men 97. And I love to see that. And like, it's not super often, I feel like, in those shows that you have like those permanent developments, right? So I really appreciated that they did do that. And 97 was very much a hard TV 14, and I loved that. Like, they did everything the original couldn't. Like, Wolverine was slashing people. They were Sentinel people, but they were people. So that was awesome. I mean, he stabbed Magneto. They got oh my gosh. And what else did they do? They could get a little more risque with the language and just everything. Oh my gosh, the stuff with Rogue. Ugh. Still not a fan of that Rogue Magneto relationship, but whatever, it is what it is. Both very broken people. It wasn't supposed to be liked, so I guess I can forgive it. Yeah, season 1 of X-Men the Animated Series, I thought it was the most focused. Like, I liked the show most when it was like focused on this political, almost real world it has more of a real world connection, so I think it was just better. Not that I didn't like the Phoenix Saga was cool, it was neat, but like, I didn't think that was the show at its best. I know that might be a little controversial. Like, people love the Phoenix Saga in that show, but like, I don't know. I feel like as I've grown older, I've appreciated more the stuff that feels real, the stuff that's about characters, not about fights or crazy space epic action or whatever. Just characters and emotions and development, and like the really interesting debates between Magneto and Xavier. Oh my gosh, Magneto's speeches in 97 were insane. I love him so much. But yeah, I watched that, and I thought the show was pretty good, beginning to end. 97 was better. It was like, well, it was a continuation. I'd say it was the best season of X-Men. And then next one I wrote down, Oh boy. Next one I wrote down TV show I watched in 2024 was The Acolyte. Why? What? So I wasn't. I have a story. So I wasn't going to watch this show. It was the new Star Wars show. If you're unaware, they'd spent an absurd amount of money on it, and it looked bad, and I didn't want to see it. I was willing to give it a chance. I stuck around after the Phantom Menace re-release with my dad after the credits because they played a sneak peek from the show, and the fight scene was okay, but like I wasn't any more sold on it than the trailers had made me, which was not at all. I wanted to be wrong. I hoped I would be, and I will say I still don't think it was as bad as some people say it was, but it was still really bad. And again, I wasn't gonna watch it, but a friend of mine, he asks me if I've been watching it like halfway through the show, and I'm like, no, I have not. And he says he needs someone to complain to about it, and no one he knows has watched it. So I'm like, I'll do it for you. I'll do it for you. And I did. And every week as the episodes dropped, we're like, that was so dumb. That was dumb. This is bad. And I don't know. The two main characters were like the worst part. I found them both incredibly annoying. Some of the fights were cool. I was surprised like they got as brutal as they did at times, like what he did to Daphne Keene, that sort of thing. I don't think it was as bad as some people say it was. There was one moment I really liked in the first couple episodes when she's in like a prison, a holding cell, and she tries to use the Force to get herself out, but she fails. I thought that was very good, very well done. It made her feel more human, more flawed, and I appreciated that. But there weren't a lot more moments like that, and I don't know. One show I haven't finished yet, but my brother and I have been watching it like very on and off. We watch it in spurts. Is The Bear. Excellent series. I mean, if we'd watched it in a shorter time span, I think we'd almost surely do an episode on it. But like, oh my gosh, the direction, the writing, the acting, it's a masterclass in everything. And I mean, it's so, excuse me, it's so stressful, but so good. And like, you really feel for all these people, but also they're all kind of I love Richie. I think that's his name, Richie. His whole arc, the love story, needle drop, and just the way it portrays this like Chicago culture. I don't know that I've ever been to Chicago, but I can tell that like there's a lot of passion and genuine love for the city in that show. And you know, I think when a filmmaker puts that sort of thing in a project, it bleeds through. The audience can feel it too. And you know, they feel the love, so they love a little bit, you know? And then The Penguin. Oh my gosh, The Penguin was so good. I didn't realize how much I missed Matt Reeves' Gotham City, but it was so good to be back. I mean, the griminess, the grittiness, the aesthetic, and the characters. Oz was amazing. I mean, and his developing relationship with Vic. And I called it almost. I mean, it was very easy to see what was going to happen, like, especially knowing that they'd told us beforehand, you're going to hate Oz by the end of the show. And, I mean, they never lie, that they never tell you he's a good person. It's kind of funny seeing people that have, like, never seen a show like this before, where you're not supposed to necessarily root for the protagonist, and they're kind of almost confused. They're like, what's going on? I was starting to like him. I'm like, you did? You really? No, I don't want to be that guy, but I called almost immediately that he had murdered his brothers. Spoiler alert. And but oh my gosh, Colin Farrell is so good. Kristen Milioti, I think. The not Modern Family. What am I talking about? How I Met Your Mother lady. She did amazing. I loved Sophia Falcone in the show. So now Sophia Gigante. She was an amazing character. She was probably she was probably my favorite character in the show. And like, I loved the Penguin, not because I love him, but because he's so fascinating to watch. Can't wait to see his shit get rocked in the Batman 3. Fingers crossed, just because what he did to Vic, right? Because he is horrible. But Kristen Milioti, her acting in the entire show, I loved her like solo episode basically, where you see her finally see her backstory, and she was never the Hangman, but she became the monster because she had to, right? And but when he's like trying to get him to admit the truth to his mom, you can see like the disgust. She is like reviled by Oz because she's like, you're actually gonna let me cut your mom's finger off? What the fuck is wrong with you? Oh my gosh. Because he's such a fascinating character. He did Penguin so well. It's not necessarily like duper faithful comic wise, but the personality is. The core traits and themes of him are that he'll do whatever it takes. He's always underestimated, and he's always just. But he can make a plan. He's the Penguin, and this whole universe has captured those aspects of those characters so well. But of course, speaking of comic accurate, at the end of the show, you see him. He's got the bow tie on. It's almost like his animated series outfit. They even show the top hat on the hanger. I would love to see him in like a comic accurate top hat, monocle, bow tie, put an umbrella in his hand for fuck's sake. Just to see him in that outfit, I would freak out. That would be amazing. Oh, and the end of the show, and he's like, his huge mommy issues. I mean, a lot of it's very Tony Soprano-esque, especially the whole thing with Vic, right? If you've seen The Sopranos, because Tony, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I mean, of course, the final shot of the show, the signal. We finally see it. I would have liked to see Pattinson in the show, but I understand why they didn't show him. I do hope they explain why he like didn't get involved at all, because I feel like were a couple parts where he would at least have like shown up. But regardless, it's I understand he has a lot to deal with, so I get it. I can't wait, but it got delayed. Dude, I was a freshman in high school when the Batman came out. I loved it immediately. Obviously, go watch that episode. I've talked about that enough. And by the time the Batman 2 comes out, I will be a sophomore in college. That's so sad. That's so terrible. What the freak? Whatever. I mean, the original got delayed a million times too, but it wasn't because Matt Reeves couldn't finish a script. I mean, I understand it's hard and there's a lot of pressure, but dude, really, come on, man. Next on most of this is superhero shows. It was a big year for superhero shows. My Adventures with Superman season 2. I was watching as it came out. I think that's a very cute show. I think Jack Quaid does a fun job as Superman. It's, a fun little depiction of his and Lois's relationship. And, it's very cute. I liked the whole storyline with Supergirl and Jimmy Olsen, Firebird, Flamebird, one of those. Yeah, it's a cute show. I've enjoyed it so far. Superman is my favorite superhero of all time, and I'll talk about that a little later, hopefully, if I remember. I have fun with that one. I don't remember. I don't have too much to say off the top of my head, but it's a good show. I recommend. Batman Caped Crusader. That was a cool show. I thought about doing an episode on it after it was over. Well, it all dropped at once after I finished it, but I just didn't. But it was a really neat depiction. Very dark Batman. Very I loved how he finally stopped calling Alfred Pennyworth and went to Alfred, like he's getting more comfortable with, people by the end. Uh, the whole thing, I thought Harley Quinn was okay. I'm not totally sold on that version of her, but like it was doing something different. So I guess I can't really fault them for that. There was one thing I'm still not completely sold on Oswalda Cobblepot. I think that's kind of a silly change, just doing it for the sake of being different. I thought Mini Driver did excellent, of course, but I just didn't really see the point of it. I mean, aside from like the mother thing, I don't know why they did that, but again, whatever. And I remember there was something about this show that I really wanted to say, but I can't think of what that is. I thought the Harvey Dent was really cool in it, and Hamish Linklater did a wonderful job as Batman and Bruce Wayne. Of course, he's no Kevin Conroy. No one ever will be, but he did sort of his own thing, and I thought he did really, really well with the whole everything. I do love that they took like the 40s sort of setting with it. That was very cool. I love that whole aesthetic, and it kind of adds a different, it makes it for something different. Some people think it should have been just basically another season of the animated series from the 90s. And I would have loved that, obviously, but I appreciate that he did something different, because there have been a bajillion Batman shows over the years. Oh, I didn't like what they did to Harvey Bullock. Like, his whole thing, I feel like, has always been he's sort of a rough around the edges, but ultimately a good cop. But, like, they kind of just turned him into sort of a villain in this show. He was horrible. He was so super corrupt. And, like, I get that they kind of turned him around towards the end. And did Flash die? No, I don't think so. But, like, still, Harvey was so evil. And I don't know, it was sort of a character assassination. Wasn't a fan. Ooh, it was cool that they had onomatopoeia. That's a really cool character. I hope we see more of him in the future. Maybe in the Batman 2 or something. I'm not sure. Nocturna was cool. I like McKenna Grace. Yeah, I don't know what I'd wanted to say about that. It's fine though, whatever. Ooh, Fallout. This isn't in order, by the way, if you couldn't tell. I kind of just listed all the shows I could remember watching this year. But I loved the Fallout show, dude. I haven't finished a Fallout game. I played most of 4. I played a lot of New Vegas. I think I got up to the point where you meet Kaisar in New Vegas, and no, I got to where you do the thing for him. I don't even remember what decision I made. And then he gives you Benny to do with as you please. And I think I stopped playing after that because I kept trying to figure out how to like kill the whole camp and get away with it, but I don't know. But anyway, so I'm pretty familiar with Fallout lore, and I know some people are like, they completely assassinated the NCR and made it pointless, and Todd Howard, you suck. I loved the show. I thought it was I have a friend who's like a Fallout super fan. He loved the show. And
we made brownies. I think
what? My fucking sister made me a brownie. My sister made me a brownie. My life is so hard. Fallout. Excellent show. I thought it was really cool that they made a story that was like canon in the world, not a remake, not a sequel, just a Fallout story. And I was smart of them to set it not necessarily anywhere that could have a direct effect or be directly affected by the games, I guess. Because, you have to leave some of that open so that the players don't feel like there are definitive choices that contradict their choices in the game. But they're definitely going to have to canonize some stuff with the New Vegas tease at the end of the season. That was awesome. I was freaking out. D- 'Cause I'm so excited for that. I wonder. I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I thought all the actors in the show did a great job. Kyle MacLachlan, love him to death. Uh, Maximus was really funny, and Lucy, of course. I thought Lucy was excellent. She's like, oh, I almost feel like she's everything Disney wanted Rey to be, like this bright-eyed, optimistic outsider venturing into a new world. But like, she fails so often, and she keeps finding out at every turn it's not what she thought it was, and just really being thrown for a loop. But she really goes through it. But it's great. She does. Ella Purnell is great. Walton Goggins, dude. Oh my gosh, the Ghoul is awesome. Hello, he was so. I'm actually here. Brownie. That was pretty good. Like, I mean, I love westerns, of course. So I love any like cowboy stuff there. And he was just cool, dude. Oh my gosh, hello, young Henry. That's not what he sounds like at all. That's like a crappy Arthur Morgan impression. Fans of video games have been eating pretty good with adaptations these last few years. With Last of Us Season 2 is coming up. Last of Us was good. Fallout was really good. I just saw Sonic 3. That was really good. Not really good. It was good. Could have been a lot shorter. I'll have to talk about that because Fallout, again, good show, would recommend. Next I wrote on the list is The Boys. We did an episode on season 4, so I won't go too deep into that, but I love The Boys, dude. That was a good show. I was trying to remember if I watched Gen V in 24 or 23, but I think Gen V is really good too, just to throw that out though. I think Reacher season 2 was 2024. I think Reacher's excellent. I love Alan Ritchson. Really glad he's been getting like a come up in his career lately. I think he deserves it. He's very charismatic, very likable. He's a Christian man. That speaks to me. And he's huge. He's a massive individual. So he's perfect for Reacher. He does such a good job in that show. I love the whole mystery stuff. I think season 1 was better, but season 2 is still really good. Robert Patrick's awesome, as usual. Some of the needle drops I liked. I would like to see... He might be a little old for it, but I would love to see Alan Ritchson as Batman. Maybe in the DCU, but he's so much older than David Cornsweet, and I feel like Superman and Batman should be around the same age. But I feel like Ritchson would pull off an awesome Batman. Him and Jensen Ackles, but Jensen Ackles is even older than Ritchson, unfortunately. I would love to see either of those two. I just watched Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. That was really good. I mean, did an episode on Scott Pilgrim, the movie, with Drew, and that's one of my favorite movies. I love Edgar Wright's one of my favorite directors, and I love everything about Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Just a super fun movie. And this series, I love how they set it up like it's going to be basically just an animated version, probably more comic accurate, of the movie. But then they totally throw you for a loop, and it's a lot more Ramona focused. But it's really cool. It's really nice, and I think it's almost as good as the movie. Maybe as good. But I loved it. It was so good to see all these characters again, doing new things. And the humor worked for me very consistently. And the video game aesthetic, the comic book aesthetic, everything about it. I loved it. It was very cute. And very just nice, and I thought it had a really good message behind it. Oh my gosh, this was one of the first... this was frustrating. Invincible Season 2 Part 2. Still don't know why they split such a short season into 2 parts. That really pissed me off. It's Invincible. Obviously, it's excellent. Cannot wait for this next season dropping. Yeah, I'm trying to remember what happened. Oh yeah, it was... What's his name? Angstrom Levy. All this stuff with him was cool, and Omni-Man coming back. I was genuinely like, holy crap, I haven't read the comics yet. And just, I do wish the animation was a little smoother, a little better. but some of the fights were really, really cool, and just getting to see these characters again, it was awesome. I love Invincible, and I'm really glad this next season is not getting split into two parts, because it was really stupid of them to do that last time. But it was, it's still a really good show. Again, though, X-Men 97 was my favorite superhero show of last year, which I can't wait for season 2 of that, whenever that may be dropping. And the last show I wrote down, I'd completely forgotten I watched this show until I saw something about it. I forgot this show existed. Was Echo, that new Marvel show, the spin-off from Hawkeye about Kingpin's niece. It was, yes. She's deaf. I thought it was cool. They have a deaf character, Native American character. They do all this stuff, and I seem to recall some sort of supernatural aspect that gets introduced. I don't know. I mean, Vincent D'Onofrio Kingpin was the reason I watched the show. He doesn't even come in for a little while. But he was the highlight, obviously, because Daredevil might be my favorite superhero show of all time. It's definitely like top 3 at least. I mean, Vincent, I'm so excited to see him again in Daredevil Born Again. That might be my most anticipated show this year. But his performance was so excellent. I guess I appreciated that they went for a TVMA, but it felt like they used that kind of as more of a marketing thing, because it didn't really feel any different from like every Marvel thing ever. I was a little mad they marketed Daredevil so much, and he was in like a few minutes of one episode. Like, come on, man. Actually getting blue-balled. Anyway. But it was good to see him again nonetheless. But I was a little confused where it fit in the timeline. But it is what it is. I cannot wait to see Daredevil Born Again. I really hope it doesn't suck. I said this, I'm pretty sure it won't, but I also really hoped Obi-Wan Kenobi wouldn't suck, and I was pretty sure it wouldn't suck, and it sucked anyway! But yes, that's the TV I watched in 2024. That was a whole thing. And maybe I'm forgetting some, but I don't know. And now I'm gonna pull out the Letterboxd. My letterboxd.com. Okay. The first movie I watched in 2024 was Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. I decided to rewatch for some reason or another. Because why not? It's Indiana Jones. It's awesome. I never need a reason for it. It's my second or third favorite Indiana Jones movie. Temple of Doom is up there. Raiders is number 1, obviously. But like, I know Temple of Doom gets a bad rap, but I love it, dude. From the opening sequence, one of my favorite visual gags of all time is like, nice try, Lao She, shuts the door, Lao She Airlines. It's perfect. I love Spielberg's direction. And that sort of, I don't know, I feel like the direction is a big part of what was missing from Dial of Destiny, which I still liked. It wasn't amazing, but, whatever. But the first movie I watched for the first time in 2024 was From Dusk Till Dawn. That's a fun movie. If you don't know what it is, please just watch it with as little context as possible. Like, don't even read the description or the summary of the movie anywhere, not even the log line, dude. Because, I don't know, it would be such an experience to see it completely blind. Just know Quentin Tarantino and George Clooney play criminal brothers. I'm pretty sure it was at least partially written by Tarantino, directed by his friend Robert Rodriguez, and it's really fun. It's really, really fun. Then I watched, The Foot Fist Way. Insanely funny movie. I love Danny McBride. That's an underrated comedy, I think. Then I saw Roadhouse, because I knew the new Roadhouse was coming up, the remake with Jake Gyllenhaal. I really, really enjoyed the Patrick Swayze Roadhouse. It was really fun. I thought it was a little long, but like, it's Roadhouse, man. It's fun. You turn your brain pretty much all the way off. Enjoy it. Sam Elliott's there, his glorious 90s hair. Oh, 80s hair. Sorry, it was 89. the fights and everything. It's awesome, man. Then I saw Kingsman. That was pretty good. I enjoyed it. Good action. I was surprised to find it was basically like a more British Men in Black. Like we Americans, we have our sci-fi. They have their spies. Whatever. Let's see. Then was Echo. Oh, then I watched Lethal Weapon 1 and 2. Loved those. Uh, I know I'm a fervent supporter of Die Hard as a Christmas movie. I think Lethal Weapon is a much less of a Christmas movie than Die Hard. It's much more on the side of it just takes place during Christmas, but I'm not opposed to it being a Christmas movie. It's more fun. I've come to realize the only argument that matters is with any of these is you can say it is or it isn't, and it's usually more fun to say it is. So, whatever. Then I had to watch Boy for film class. I believe it was one of Taika Waititi's first films, if not his first. I really enjoyed that. It was a fun movie, very just heartfelt. I had to write an essay about it, I believe. And I got a good grade on it. Then I watched Saltburn. I did not like Saltburn. Emma Joe, frequent comer honor of the pod. I don't know. Emma Joe adores Saltburn. I don't know what she sees in it. Maybe it's for the girls. I don't know. I just do not enjoy that movie. It was weird for the sake of being weird. It was like the director, whatever, was trying to do like a political commentary thing, but forgot to do any actual commentary. Just like put stuff there and said, see, I'm making a statement. Yes. It's dumb. It was a dumb movie that thought it was smart. It looked really nice. It looked excellent. The cinematography and the framing was probably its saving grace for me. I don't know. I saw Batman Under the Red Hood. That was neat. I loved that story. The comic was better, obviously, but first movie I saw in the theater last year was American Fiction, February 6th. My dad and I just decided to go see it. We really enjoyed it. I thought it was funny and emotional, very biting satire. It was really funny to me, the scene where they're reading the book with all like black dialect, and it's like very almost stereotypical and borderline offensive, but it's a black author, so like it's praised as like brave, and the main guy sees it as reductive, and it's this interesting dichotomy, I guess. But it was really fun, extra funny to me. There was a layer of it because in English class at the time we were reading Their Eyes Were Watching God, and a lot of pretty much all the dialogue in that book was like that dialogue. But it was like, instead of a low income sort of neighborhood with a lot of like gang violence and the like, it was like early 1900s South. So you have these ladies, and I can't do the voice. That would be that's cancellation. I'm trying to get into college. Yeah. But like, you read any line of dialogue from Their Eyes Were Watching God, and it's like they say da instead of the, and it's just all this stuff. And some people hated it. I thought it was neat. Very unique voice. Dawn of the Dead was good. Baby Driver was one of my favorite movies I saw last year. I adore Baby Driver. I definitely talked about that in the summer episode, and I was wondering how much of this was going to overlap with the summer episode, which is part of why I didn't invite Emma Joe back on, and also because I just wanted to do this, and it's going to be long with or without somebody else, but, whatever. I adore Baby Driver, the action, the way everything syncs up to everything, all the music, I mean. It introduced me to Brighton Rock, which is now one of my favorite Queen songs, and I love Queen, of course. The driving sequences, John Hamm, everything about Baby Driver. It's awesome. Just an awesome movie. Second movie I watched in the theater last year. First time I ever went to a theater by myself, I believe, was to see Lisa Frankenstein. I just felt like going to the theater and I felt like seeing this movie. It looked neat, so I went to see it. I thought it was very cute. It was directed by Zelda Williams, who is Robin Williams' daughter, which is part of why I was interested in it. And it definitely had like a quirky sort of almost like 2000s rom-com sort of feel to it, but with a very Tim Burton type twist. And I thought it was very Tim Burton-esque in its vibes and its tone and atmosphere and aesthetic. It did great with like the 80s aesthetic too, very neon, all these colors, and then just the bleak veneer of the creature. It was cool. I saw the David Lynch Dune. That was fun. I actually thought so. Yeah, I saw David Lynch Dune. That was a few weeks before Dune Part 2 came out. I'll talk about that. And I actually thought so. I had seen Dune before, the Villeneuve one, and I actually thought Lynch's Dune was almost a better introduction to the world and the characters of Dune. Maybe it's because it was technically just my second time seeing it. So like the first half of that movie felt very familiar, like a rushed version of things, right? But I felt like I absorbed it more that time, seeing it presented in that way. This like almost overly compressed, very campy type way. But I enjoyed it a lot. I liked David Lynch's Dune. I know he doesn't, but that was my first David Lynch movie. Oh my gosh. I did watch Eraserhead. That was something. I didn't get it. I don't know that anybody gets it, but I'd love to see it around another time and like maybe try to get it or come up with my own way of getting it. Because the first time I watched it, I wasn't trying to like analyze or anything. I was just trying to experience it. That's generally how I go into movies the first time. But yeah, Eraserhead was excellent. Saw The Godfather 2 in theaters, again, alone. Yeah, nobody wanted to go see a 3.5 hour movie in the theater with me for some reason or another. It's odd. Natural Born Killers was fun. Schindler's List, I put at number one in my first watches list of 2025. You can find it on my letterbox.com. And I mean, it's Schindler's List, dude. It's an excellent film. I don't know that I'll ever watch it again because I definitely will. I think it's a very important film, especially lately. There's been a lot of, there's definitely been a big spike in anti-Semitism on the internet. You just gotta remember this stuff. Like, this happened. And it is a dramatized version of things, of course. But, like, inspired by real events. This was a real dude. And he saved a lot of people. Good for him. But it's a beautifully done film. I'm in IB, so I had to write a 4,000 word essay on whatever film related topic of my choice. I picked a subject, then I picked a topic from that subject to write about. I did film, of course, and I talked about Judaism and Spielberg films, and so obviously a big part of that was about Schindler's List. It was really interesting thinking about it from that angle. Like, of course, this movie had to be made by a Jewish individual, but why did it have to be made by a Jewish individual? But because he portrays these things like the Shabbat ceremonies in such a way with such sincerity and this intimacy, right? That somebody who isn't Jewish wouldn't necessarily understand or think to portray it in that way with like the colors coming from the candle in an otherwise colorless movie, that sort of thing. It's, yeah, I think Schindler's List is awesome. It's a great, wonderfully done film. It's horribly wonderful. Watched Dune again, and I rewatched Dune in preparation to watch Dune 2, and I watched both of those in the same day, and afterwards I was just like drained because that's a lot of Dune in one day, and that made my brain hurty. So, but Dune 2 was excellent. That might have been my favorite movie that came out last year. Just, I mean, it was absurdly good. I loved the all the religious imagery and themes in the movie. I'm always a sucker for that. If you're a listener, you probably know this right by now. Yeah, Dune Part 2. I adored everything everything about that movie. Went to see it with my friend and his little brother. And then later that same day, I was feeling drained. I was feeling drained, so I didn't have the brain power for like a film. So we watched Step Brothers. That was my first time seeing it. Hilarious movie. Might not have been the play to watch the uncut version with my family, but it was really, really funny. Like, boats and hoes, all this. Did we just become best friends? I love Step Brothers. I watched both of the Timothy Dalton Bond films. Those were cool. I need to get back on my Bond film watch. I've been watching those on and off for years now. I'm almost done. I'm down to the Brosnan era. Then I want to rewatch the Daniel Craig ones, and then I'll have watched every James Bond film. I did skip Doctor No and Diamonds Are Forever because I saw those years and years ago, but I do think I should watch them again because I don't remember them very, very well. Wonka. I saw Wonka. I thought that was lovely. Lovely film. Just wonderful. Very sweet, whimsical. I didn't expect to like it. I didn't want to like it. I thought Chalamet was a really crappy choice, but he did awesome. And, ooh, talk about Chalamet a little bit later. But yeah, he did great. And the whole movie was just, well, it was nice. It was a nice movie. Had to watch Akira in film class. I was very sleep deprived, so I was almost falling asleep. Uh, and the ending was very confusing and weird, but I thought it was really cool. I think it lived up to the hype. It's very much made an imprint on culture as a whole. Like, I want to say it might have like introduced anime to Western mainstream, but I don't know. Regardless, I thought Akira was really good. I'd have to watch it again to actually get it, probably. Ooh. So in English class last year, one of our units, we studied the songs of Into the Woods, which I enjoyed it. I enjoyed some of them. So I decided to go see if I could find a recording of the stage version, which I did on, someone just uploaded the whole thing on YouTube. So I watched it and I thought it was awesome. It was really funny and good. I think all the songs are great. Into the Woods, great musical. I like musicals. I'm a fan. I'm a fan. Uh, I saw the Toxic Avenger. That was a hilarious movie. I thought it was so stupid and crass and bad in the best way possible. It felt like the type of movie you'd see on the TV in GTA 5, but it's real. It's a movie and it's awesome. And I really want to see the new one with Peter Dinklage, but nobody wants to distribute it anywhere, which I mean might be a good sign to like being faithful to the original. 500 Days of Summer was excellent, very heart-wrenching. I don't know. I think I could learn a thing or two from that. Like people like to argue over that movie. Oh, he was so wrong. She was so wrong. They're both wrong. They're both bad people. Like she shouldn't have let him on. He shouldn't have assumed anything. He's a dick. She's whatever. Oh, look at that. March 22nd, I rewatched American Psycho for the first Pulp Diction episode. Look at me getting all sentimental. Oh, that movie. I've done an episode on it. I don't need to talk about it. I love American Psycho. Not sure how I feel about them doing a remake. Luca Guadagnino directing. I haven't seen any of his movies yet, I don't think. Um, I know Austin Butler is a good actor, but I'm kind of like, why is he Patrick Bateman? Here's the Roadhouse remake. I think Conor McGregor was the highlight of that. He was such a joy to like. You could tell he was just having so much fun every time he was on screen. The one thing my one big problem with the Roadhouse remake was like they kept doing this weird thing where they hide the fact that a punch didn't actually connect with like CGI or something, but it just looks so weird and bad, and it took me out of it every single time. Uh, and there were definitely other questionable filmmaking choices that I don't remember because I watched it in March. That oh my gosh, there's the last TV show that I said I skipped and I would come back to and I didn't come back to. I watched Quiet on Set, that documentary series on Nickelodeon. I thought it was fantastically done. Really tragic, just horrible stuff, obviously. And I think it's a very important documentary. Or at least I thought so at the time. Like people need to be okay and aware that they can, talk about these things and get their stories out there because it can be a horrible, horrible industry where horrible, horrible things happen with horrible, horrible people. I mean, the freaking Drake Bell episode. Ugh, man, it was. Ugh. And again, I think it was very important, but I also feel like it was kind of exploitative. Like, it was really interesting to me. Like, you see, Dan Snyder doesn't seem to have actually done anything aside from be really, really weird and like a huge asshole to every. Well, he was harassing definitely, but like he wasn't the pedophile. He was friends with pedophiles. I mean, he was still obviously a dick. But yeah, it was interesting. Yeah, I felt like as I've thought about it more, it feels more exploitative and just I don't know, just something a little icky about it rubs me the wrong way. And I definitely never watch it again. But I mean, if you're curious, and I am glad I didn't really grow up with like Drake and Josh and uh, all these other shows that they talk about on it because it might have ruined my childhood if it did. But yeah, I watched Munich. Talking again about Spielberg, I wrote about that in that same essay about Spielberg. Munich was excellent. Just a really interesting look at the Israel-Palestine conflict. It's very relevant today, I think. And I honestly think in today's day and age, it's almost as important of a watch as Schindler's List is. Very underrated Spielberg installment. Mikey and Nikki was a really good movie. Watched that for our school film club. Shout out, film club. Saw Godzilla, and I was kind of dragged to Godzilla and Kong, the new Empire, to see that in theaters. I didn't like it. I'd never seen a Godzilla movie. I'd never seen a Kong movie. But I was like, I'm okay with a brainless movie now and then. I love a good brainless action movie, but like, it just wasn't. It got. I was bored watching it. It was stupid. It was dumb. It was bad. I didn't like it. Yeah, it had a couple good moments. I liked when he picked up the little monkey and hit the other monkeys with it. That was funny. But like other stuff, it's just like I feel nothing watching this. This is it's like it's a product. It's just a big CGI mess of stuff happening and yeah, monkey business. Steel Magnolias, second Pulp Diction episode. Great movie. Go watch that episode. Ooh, I went to see Late Night with the Devil with my dad. There's been it kind of sucks to me that every discussion about that movie gets boiled down to like the AI controversy with because they use these like technical difficulties cards with art made by AI. But I think that sucks because there's so much more to that movie than AI. Like I got so immediately just reeled in by the atmosphere, and my dad did too. We're watching this, so it's like a talk show. It's a horror movie like presented as a talk show, right? And we just got so immediately immersed. Like at one point when the audience starts applauding, my dad and I started like absentmentally going. And I looked at him and I looked at me. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? What? Come on, man. Yeah, Late Night with such a unique, cool horror film. I love David Dasmalchian. I think that is that how that's probably not how you say it. Whatever. He did great, great movie. Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. I love James Stewart. I love westerns. I love that movie. Oh my gosh, There Will Be Blood. Another one I had to watch for school, but man, There Will Be Blood. That I would like to do a solo episode on. Not solo. I'd like to give it its own episode with somebody else who was in that class because it is a fantastic movie with so much to talk about. I liked it more after I wrote about it because I felt like I understood it more. Just the depiction of like Daniel Plainview is a fascinating character. Just the way he embodies, I mean, capitalism, and it's a critique on capitalism. That's a whole thing, but like it's true. There's so much to unpack with that movie. It's so fascinating. I love Paul Thomas Anderson. I also watched Punch Drunk Love for the first time this past year, which is again excellent. Adam Sandler can actually act when he wants to. It's just more fun do to shoot the shit with his friends, and I respect the actual hell out of that. Yeah, I loved Punch Drunk Love. Adam Sandler, the like poetic writing of it, the colors, like those screens where it was just colors and sounds, very abstract but very artsy, and like maybe pushing it in a pretentious sort of way, but it's not pretentious. It toes the line, I guess. I love that movie. It was great. I think There Will Be Blood was my favorite of his I watched though. So far, I've seen that Magnolia, There Will Be Blood, Magnolia, and Punch Drunk Love are the PTA films I've seen. Are there any others? I don't think so. Oh, I watched Licorice Pizza. I wasn't a huge fan at the time, but maybe I'll watch it again. I don't know. I watched Argyle. I was excited for that when it came out, and then it came out and it got horrible reviews, so I didn't see it. And I saw it a lot later when it was on, I want to say, Apple, and it was so okay. Like, it wasn't a disaster, but it was so insanely mediocre. It was like quantity over quality with the amount of twists they had. It was, oh, and like Now and Then was in it for some reason, which had just come out. Which I like that song, but I don't know. The CGI was just not good. It was like a crappy Bond movie, and not in a fun way. Buffalo 66 I watched for a film club. I liked that. That was kind of a weird, messed up movie, but I liked it a lot. It was fun. Stranger Than Paradise, I thought it was pretentious, but pretty good, I guess. Like, I don't know. Very theatrical because like they have these very long takes where just not much happens, but it's a long take. The actors just remember know what to say. So again, License to Kill. License to Kill is one of my favorite Bond films. That's the second Timothy Dalton one. They did something very different than most other ones. Like Bond goes rogue. The villain is like a drug lord. It's like Bond versus Scarface. So it's really cool. It's like personal for him, right? Because Felix Leiter, I don't think he dies, but he's like on the verge of death. I mean, it gets dark, it gets gory. It's different. It differs from the usual Bond formula, and I very much appreciated that. It was really cool. Uh, it was my first time rewatching the X Men movies, watching the X Men movies since the first time I'd seen them, which was years ago. Because I wanted to rewatch them all in prep for Deadpool and Wolverine. And I liked them. X2 was really fun. X3 wasn't as bad as I thought it'd be. Tenacious D and the Pick of Destiny. I got huge into Tenacious D these past couple of years, and I'd been dying to see that movie. I finally got my hands on it. It wasn't amazing, but it was really, really, really fun. Like, it's Tenacious D, man. I enjoyed it. The humor worked for me. Hmm, I don't know that every joke landed, to be honest, but it was fun. The songs are all good. I love Tenacious D so much. I got to see Alien in theaters. I remember it was being re-released for a couple days. I wasn't sure if I was gonna go see it, but I told myself I would if I had time. And I was like, I got home one night. I'm like, one day after school, I'm like, do I have time? I think I have time. I don't think I have anything going on. I go to the theater. I buy my ticket, get myself a little drink, and the second I sit down in my seat, I'm like, I have a biology quiz tomorrow that I'm not ready for. So I was kind of freaking out about that the whole movie. But it was, I mean, it's Alien. It's a mess. It's gotten better every time I've seen it. I think I saw it twice last year for some reason. But I love Alien. I adore Alien. I also saw Alien Romulus last year, which I was a big fan. My dad said the ending kind of took him out of it with the weird like alien human hybrid. I don't think so. I thought that was actually pretty cool, really freaky, right? It did lean a little bit too much on like nostalgia baiting for my taste, like with Ash's head and all this other stuff. But you know, it was get away from her, you bitch, and that sort of thing. But it was fun. I enjoyed it. I like the director a lot, Fede Alvarez, I believe. I really loved Evil Dead 2013. I thought he did a great job with that. Like, well, at least once it picked up, that one's kind of slow, like at the beginning, but once stuff actually starts happening, it's just a great Evil Dead movie, and I love that franchise. And I was hoping I was really excited when I found out he was doing Alien Romulus because I thought he could hopefully do something similar where you introduce these characters, you get to know them, and then stuff starts happening, and it's a similar sort of crazy balls to the wall horror chaotic horror uh, conundrum situation. And I thought he did pretty much that. I saw Christine, that was fun. The Fall Guy was really, really fun. I saw it in the theater. Um, I saw it in the theater, I think opening weekend. And yeah, I was really excited for that movie. I love Ryan Gosling, obviously. I thought he and Emily Blunt had wonderful chemistry. It's such a love letter to filmmaking and stunts, and I don't know. It's a love letter to filmmaking and to stunts, and it's a rom com. Ryan Gosling's excellent in it as usual. It's hilarious. It was almost comfy from like I saw the extended edition on Peacock, loved that too. I was really sad that I was not really sad. I was kind of bummed out that The Fall Guy was pretty much a box office flop because I don't think it deserves to be a flop. I really hope it gets a sequel, but it probably won't because it flopped. The humor really worked for me. I love that it was like an action rom-com. I love a good rom-com, of course. I loved that. I love movies about making movies, and that was this. All the characters are wonderful. It was so just fun. It was really, really fun, and I'd love to see more of it. I watched the new Planet of the Apes movies for the first time, like Rise, Dawn, War, and then Kingdom. Hmm. I thought they were fun. Like Rise, the CGI is excellent. Obviously, Andy Serkis is a goat. I mean, come on, dude. I love him so much. Uh, Great Alfred, great as Caesar, great as Gollum. Everything he's ever done. I love Andy Serkis. He's insanely like emotional. I love the almost mythical quality of these movies. Mythological, sorry. The special effects, the characters, just the story. It's almost like an epic, you know? It's great. I mean, I like Planet of the Apes CGI more than Avatar CGI. It blows me away more, if I'm being frank. I love all the nods to the 1968 original. I watched that one when I was a lot younger, like second grade, give or take, and it like traumatized me. Like the twist at the end, it traumatized me, but I didn't tell anyone it traumatized me, so I'm just lying in bed like thinking about it at night. That was how I found out what lobotomies were, and that scared me. I'm like, are the apes gonna lobotomy? I feel like I've talked about that on here before. Maybe not. I don't know. But yeah, I loved all those. War was my favorite. I thought Kingdom was really good. I went to see that. I watched the Ben Affleck Daredevil movie. I really enjoyed it. Well, I was convinced to watch it by the High Top Films video essay on it, and he does a lot more justice to what's good about it than I ever could. But I thought it was really fun. I watched the director's cut, got to see AJ Soprano bully Matt Murdock. That was really funny. I didn't expect that at all. It was campy, it was overstuffed, but it was really enjoyable. I mean, I was surprised how much I liked Ben Affleck as Matt Murdock. Uh, I liked what's his face, Michael Clark Duncan as Fisk. He did excellent. Colin Farrell was really fun as Bullseye. It was it was very early 2000s, but I enjoyed it. There was a lot of love there. It was a good time. I saw Gladiator for the first time. Excellent movie. I mean, what was fascinating about it to me, it's not only a historical epic or a brutal revenge story, it's a commentary on the role of entertainment in society, right? It's contradictory, right? I'm pretty much reading off my letterbox review. It's a commentary. Gladiator is a commentary on the role of entertainment in society. It's contradictory, right? It bends to win the whims of the people. It's like trying to give the people what they want, right? But it's also bending the people's wants itself. The people crave violence, but they cheer when someone shows mercy. I mean, it's an exploitative, bloodthirsty, people-pleasing industry, but it's got the potential to shift the very foundation of society, which to me was the most interesting part of that movie, filled with interesting parts. And I felt like it was kind of missing from Gladiator 2, despite how much I enjoyed that movie. I do think the action, I don't know, I thought it was kind of, the violence and the gore was like a little exaggerated. That took me out of the otherwise like pretty realistic tone of it. But like maybe it was supposed to take me out of it. I'm not sure. Like, I don't know, maybe violence is supposed to be off-putting. X-Men, yeah, I thought Matthew Vaughn was an insanely good choice to direct an X-Men movie. He should direct more comic book movies, I think, just because his aesthetic is so perfectly matched for it. I mean, I have my issues with Kingsman and a lot more with Argyle, but, his style has never been part of that issue. Like, he's almost like a lighter version of Zack Snyder, because they're both, I think, very good directors stylistically. Just maybe keep them away from the writer's room. The Treasure of the Sierra Madre I really liked. I think I watched it because it's supposed to be one of Sam Raimi's favorite movies, and he's one of my favorite directors. But Humphrey Bogart does an excellent performance in it. Uh, and it was crazy to me because it was almost like There Will Be Blood before There Will Be Blood. Like the way capitalism just completely corrupts this guy and just brings out the absolute worst in these people. It's so interesting. And the ending too. Oh my gosh. Great movie. Fright Night was really good, really fun vampire movie. Went to see Furiosa, another movie that didn't deserve to fail last year, but it did anyway. And that sucks because it was awesome. For Fury Road for the first time not that long before. And I thought that was great. And pretty much everything I loved about Fury Road, I loved about Furiosa. So I don't know what the issue was. I don't know. People just didn't want to see a Mad Max movie without Mad Max, I guess. Pearl was fun. Inside Out 2 was cute. 10 Things I Hate About You is a really cute rom-com. I thought it was very cheesy, but it embraces that cheesiness in a way that's like very just nice. It was nice. I went to see South Park Bigger, Longer, and Uncut in the theater with my friend. That was my like second or third time seeing it, but it was fun. 28 Days Later was a great zombie story. I'm very excited for 28 Years Later. It's yeah. 28 Years Later. I've not seen Weeks yet. I'm very curious to see that, but yeah, I can't wait for 28 Years Later. 28 Days, wonderful zombie story. Reminded me a lot of the Walking Dead comics and the tone of it. Went to see A Quiet Place day one. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a very nice story. I don't know, it was about as close to an indie movie that a blockbuster can be, if that makes any sense. Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, loved that. Oh my gosh, the ending was like cathartic. It was so cool. I love love James Stewart. A Few Good Men was fun. Beverly Hills Cop I watched for the first time. Not another teen movie. That's a really funny movie. Yeah, very very just reverent of teen movies as a whole, but like and very much making fun of them, but in a playful sort of way that you can tell they genuinely do have a lot of love for it as a genre. I watched Casablanca for the first. That's like one of those great American classics that I've been meaning to take off my list forever and ever. And I finally got around to it. And it lived up to the hype because of course it is. It's Casablanca. I don't know, there's something about these old black and white movies, like the atmosphere that you only seem to get from them. These like smoky rooms, the dark shadows, just the tone of the conversations, the witty retorts Humphrey Bogart has. Oh my gosh. Like I love it more and more the more I think about it. I put it at a 4.5 on Letterboxd, but I can see myself putting it at a 5 on a rewatch. I watched Kick Ass, Matthew Vaughn again. That was really fun. I saw I saw Long Legs with a couple friends of mine. I thought it was great. It was fun. It was really cool, really freaky. Uh One of the friends I was with, he was by the end of it, he was like staring up at the screen. I'm like, "You okay, buddy?" He's like, and when it was over, he just says, "I need to go to church, bro." He was so freaked out. It was really funny. Bottoms was really fun. I talked about that in the summer. Okay, we're in summer now, so a bunch of this is going to be stuff I talked about for the summer podcast. Bottoms was fun. Trap was fun. I watched Blade because of Deadpool. That was really Reanimator. I saw Risky Business. I liked a lot. Tom Cruise has been probably charismatic ever since you came out of the womb. Risky Business. It was cool. It was like a much hornier and more capitalistic Ferris Bueller, but I liked it. It was really funny to see Ralph Cifaretto from The Sopranos basically play himself again. Snatch was cool. There's Eraserhead. Detroit Rock City. Such a fun movie. Oh my gosh. I read an article comparing like how it and Dazed and Confused portray the 70s. It was really interesting. Well, that was when I was researching for this other school project where I had to compare two films and I chose Dazed and Confused and American Graffiti to compare. It was a fun project. I really enjoyed doing it. I might consider making like a full video essay out of it. Yeah, Detroit Rock City, great coming of age movie. I love Kiss. I love 70s rock in general. And it's such a great love letter to both of those things. Went to see Borderlands, unfortunately. Saw Heathers. I loved Heathers. My last day of summer vacation, I decided to watch all three Back to the Futures back to back. I'd obviously seen them all before, but I'd never seen any two of them back to back, let alone all three. So I just decided to do that for some reason. And it was awesome. I'm so glad I did that. It's great. They're such great movies. They're so fun and just it was my first time seeing part 3 in forever. I don't think I'd ever seen it since I saw it for the first time, which was years and years ago. And it was really nice. Like great western, honestly. I love that like Doc Brown gets just as much of a focus as Marty does. And it's oh my gosh, that's whole trilogy. So many of like the best line deliveries in the history of line deliveries. Ah, Edge of 17 was a great. I wanted to start watching more high school like coming of age movies before I graduated high school. I have like a list. I'm definitely not getting through that list by the time I graduate, but I'll get through a chunk of it hopefully. Edge of 17 and Heathers were both on there. They were both great. Uh, Edge of 17 was very relatable in some very uncomfortable ways, but you know. Oh brother, where art thou? Was supposed to do a podcast on that, and that fell through. I saw Beetlejuice. It was okay. I I mean, I've seen worse legacy sequels. It doesn't have the rewatchability of the first, and the pacing was all over the place. There was some Deus Ex Machina, but it was fun. Like Keaton, O'Hara were definitely the highlight. Winona Ryder, of course. I mean, they slid back into their roles like it was just yesterday they were playing them. I saw Do the Right Thing for school again. Oh my gosh, really good film. I mean, I didn't. I don't think I fully processed everything about it, but I'd like to watch it again because I don't know. I feel like it would only get better. It has very much like a similar slice of life sort of deal to it that like Dazed and Confused American Graffiti have, but it has a lot more of like something to say than either of those do. I think it's a very important film. The Fly was awesome. Just a great body of horror. It was like the conventions of B movie sci-fi horror with like the seriousness of an actually good horror movie. And I thought it was executed great. Jennifer's Body was fun. Uh oh, I marked so I got to I've been watching Superman the animated series on and off. I got to the point where they have like the three-parter with the Batman crossover, World's Finest, and those are easily my favorite episodes of the show so far. I mean, there's just this cinematic quality about it. Batman gets a nightclub scene, with, of course, because of course he does. Like, I don't know, you gotta love a good Batman nightclub scene, you know. He's the bet. Just I love Batman and Superman. Why do we need Batman versus Superman? That's lame. That's boring. I've come to think that power scaling and like who would win blah, 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 is like the lowest form of superhero conversation. I mean, don't get me wrong. I enjoy a good who would win now and then, but like I think it's so just reductive and it completely misses the point of every character. Like I don't care about who would win. It's so much more interesting and fun to think about like what the team up would be like. Like would they be? I like Batman and Superman as friends so much more than them as enemies. They have my favorite friendship in comic books. Let's see. I watched the original The Thing because originally for that comparative study project, I was going to do the 80s thing and The Thing for Another World. But then I watched the 1951 thing and it was like nothing like the 80s one. And I didn't like it very much. So it was okay, but I didn't like it nearly as much. So I switched courses. Return of the Living Dead was a great zombie movie. If it wasn't a comedy, it would have been so like I mean, it almost was already nihilistic, but I don't know. It was honestly, I think it has some of the scariest zombies I've ever seen in live in anything because like they're still aware there's of everything, but like they're in constant pain. They just need to feed. You can't kill them in like any way, and even when you do, this smoke like gets into the air and makes more. So you're pretty much cooked, right? Invasion of the Body Snatchers was fun. It was like a long Twilight Zone episode, and like it felt like seeing the origin of a lot of tropes that I've just come to know so well over the years. I liked Happy Death Day. Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. Little Shop of Horrors was excellent. I just decided to watch it on kind of a whim. I mean, I've meant to for a long time. Awesome musical. I thought it was one of the most creatively just well-made movies I'd seen in a long time. Like, it had was it Frank Oz that did it? I feel like it was. Yeah, it was. It has that sort of like Jim Henson type creativity behind it, like Labyrinth did. I was watching it, I'm like, this is so creative. This is so cool. This is so fun. I love this. I'm having a great time. Steve Martin and the Dentist song. Oh, great movie. Great movie. I mean, I was smiling almost beginning to end. And then there's Dazed and Confused and American. Ooh, I went to see Godzilla -1 on my own when it had like a theatrical re-release. That was so good. It was like my first real Godzilla movie. That was really, really good. Just the themes of like sacrifice and war and trauma, stopping the unstoppable. It presents a lot of questions like, does it mean more to die for tomorrow or to live for it? I thought it almost would have been interesting if, like, at the climax, the button that the dude had told would arm the bomb or whatever was like actually an ejector seat, and like he didn't know that there was an ejector seat in there, so he kind of, I don't know. But I liked it a lot anyway. I watched Everybody Wants Some after Dazed and Confused because I was feeling more of that type of thing, and it was so lovely. Such a lovely thing. My Old Ass was fun. Perks of Being a Wallflower. Really, really good movie. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I loved the Come On Eileen needle drop. It frustrated me that I didn't know Heroes by David Bowie. Like, who doesn't know Heroes? But whatever. Paris, Texas, I watched. That was really good. I thought it could have been a little shorter, and I know that's like heretical to say it. I loved the colors in that movie at the very least. Like, they all dominated the screen at different times, and I'd love to like delve into that on a second watch and like figure out what they all mean. Good Time, I really loved. Friend of mine, Declan, told me to watch that because it might be an inspiration for a film project we might make soon. And I mean, yeah, it was everything he said it would be. It was just the aesthetic, the vibes, the stress of it all. I got a kick out of it. Seventh Seal is another one of those like ancient classics, I guess, that lived up to the hype. Watched all the Terrifier movies, watched that episode. Rewatched Planes, Trains, and Automobiles for Thanksgiving. I went to see Gladiator 2. I definitely mentioned that. I had fun with it. It was nice. It was decent. I mean, it wasn't great, but finally we're at December. Okay. I should have grabbed water for this. My throat's kind of going through it. Black Christmas was... Well, the first Christmas movie I watched was Muppet Christmas Carol. Watch that episode, please. And then I watched Black Christmas for the first time. That was a neat little, like, proto-slasher. The villain, Billy, he actually kind of, like, gave me the creeps. Because he was a freaky dude. The movie made me feel icky in the best way possible. There was very little gore to speak of, but it was just... less was so much more. So much. And it's insane to me that it's the same dude that directed Christmas Story. Die Hard. I watched Scrooge for the first time in years. I enjoyed it a lot. What I'm thinking about doing, maybe next December, is like watching as many Christmas Carol movies as possible and doing a like mega podcast just talking about every Christmas Carol movie adaptation. And I don't know, because I've seen a few. I might have seen the Zemeckis one at some point or another. If I did, I don't remember like any of it. Muppet Christmas Carol is obviously the one I know best. I've seen Mr. Magoo's Christmas Carol, Scrooged, of course. I just said that, and maybe some others. I don't know. What I just saw. I thought about doing an episode with my dad on It's a Wonderful Life, but we just never really had the time. We watched that movie every Christmas Eve. That's my favorite Christmas movie, partially because of that. And also because it's just really freaking good. I just read a really interesting article or a take or whatever, where someone said that It's a Wonderful Life is like an inverse Christmas Carol where it's like from Bob Cratchit's perspective. Like Mr. Potter is obviously a Scrooge type figure, and George Bailey is like Bob Cratchit if he was getting disillusioned with life. You know, he's even got the sick kid like Tiny Tim, right? And he's visited by not ghosts but an angel, seeing visions and stuff. I don't know. It was very interesting. I'd definitely like to look into that more. Went to see Sonic the Hedgehog 3. There's a post about that on the Pulp Diction podcast Instagram. Go hit a follow. But that was a fun movie. It could have been shorter, but it was. I enjoyed it. Oh my gosh. So went with Tucker and Drew and a few friends. Tucker featured on the Deadpool episode. Drew featured on the Scott Pilgrim episode. Abby featured on the Eyes Without a Face episode. And Brady not yet featured on an episode. Maybe one day. He's the Fallout fan I mentioned earlier. We all went to see Sonic 3, and I said it would be really funny if we like clapped and cheered at this like it was a Marvel movie. And Tucker actually did. Drew might have joined him. But like he was cheering and wooing, and there was one moment like towards the climax when like Sonic was in trouble or something. Tucker goes, "No! Oh no!" Just really loudly. I'm like, dude, stop. You cannot do this. No. That boy, I don't know how he does it, but he does it. Golly. Yeah, he would do that. You'd like, whoa! Yeah! Whoa! He like gave a standing ovation in the credits. It was really funny because there was a guy in like the row next to us who I saw him like jump out of his seat at one. He was sitting all well. It was really funny walking into the theater because we just walk in. Here's like 5 teenagers, and it's a theater full of like kids and their parents. So we find our seats on like the side, and of course there are a few like solo adults too who are probably a little. I think this individual was one of them because at one point he's like jumping out of his seat, like he's so excited. I'm not even making fun. I wish I was that excited for Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Are you kidding me? Yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Fun movie. Probably the best of the 3 so far. I'd say. Ooh, Christmas Eve, after my family watched It's a Wonderful Life, my dad and I were like, hey, we got time. We can still go to the theater, catch Complete Unknown. But my dad's a huge Bob Dylan fan. I like Bob Dylan. I've listened to it. I've seen him live a few times. I haven't really comprehended more than a few words that he sings. But is it so? But, you know, it's neat. And I was really curious to see Complete Unknown. And we went to see it on Christmas Eve. And we both loved it, dude. I mean, Chalamet did a great job. I thought Boyd Holbrook as Johnny Cash was insanely good. I love Johnny Cash so much. One of my favorite singers of all time. I thought the whole movie was excellent. I thought it was better than Walk the Line, Mangold's previous biopic. I think it's crazy how many good performances Timothée Chalamet gave this year. I mean, between Dune 2 and Bob Dylan. It was a good year for Timmy. I thought it did a good job portraying the mystery that is Bob Dylan and also like his whole rebellion. I'd honestly wonder about like the possibility of a sequel with, again, Timothée Chalamet, maybe at a later point in Bob Dylan's life. Because I keep seeing people say like the Going Electric period has been portrayed so many times already. I don't know. It does make me want to see more Bob Dylan movies, and my dad has a crap ton. I mean, I'm Not There and like all these documentaries. The Last Waltz for one. And the last movie I watched in 2024 was A Boy and His Dog. The reason I wanted to watch it in 2024 was because it takes place. So it came out in 1975, and it takes place in the year 2024 AD. And I know it because of that, and because it's the inspiration for Mad Max and for the Fallout series. So I'm like, okay, better check this out. It seems pretty cool. And you can see the Fallout inspirations. Like, you got underground vaults with like sort of reminiscent of it's a post-apocalyptic wasteland after World War IV, which lasted 5 days apparently. And it's New Mexico or Arizona or one of those. You know, you have some of these underground vaults, and you can see the Fallout inspiration. And Fallout has never shied away from like dark topics, obviously, and neither does this. But A Boy and His Dog, I did not expect to be so just mean-spirited and cynical and honestly sexist and rapey. I mean, the main character is going around with his telepathic dog, helping the dog find food, and in return, the dog helps him find women to have his way with. And it's horrible and deplorable. And I mean, it's such a dark, twisted ending. But, like, I don't know, it's such a mean spirited commentary on what humanity is. And I would hope that it wouldn't be that bad in such a scenario. But it is an interesting take that, like, maybe it would revert to, like, such a primal way of being where even dogs are more intelligent and just well knowing than people. I got more than I bargained for. It was funny because I don't know, the protagonist was 18, born in 2006, just like me. But thankfully, I'm not just like him. Uh, ugh. And that was my 2024, presented by Pulp Diction. I got no more to say. My throat's a little raw. I hope I'm not getting sick. I hope this is just because I've been talking for well over an hour, maybe two. Like and subscribe, follow, check out the Instagram, hit my letterbox for more movie thoughts. Catch you on the flip flop. Bye bye.